Yeah.
Aggrey, you worked with Willie.
Yes.
What prompted the phone call? If you're privy to that information, what prompted the concern?
Yeah, the information is now public, as it was part of the testimony that was given in court. When they were abducted, just outside Mavoko Law Courts, they were taken to a container, which was an ungazetted detention facility at the AP camp. And they were held there for most of that afternoon. And it was during the time when they were in that container that Willie thought it would be wise to, send an SOS. And so what he had was his pen and a piece of tissue paper. And on that piece of tissue paper, he wrote the information that contained the number of the wife to the client, Josephat Mwenda. And basically he said, he asked whoever was going to pick this thing, this piece of tissue paper, he said, Pigia, then put a number. It was the Josephat Mwenda's wife's number, and asks the person to tell a colleague of ours that Willie, Joseph, and Josephat are in trouble. In fact, it was in Swahili, so he said wako hatarini, and he said they're at the chief's place in Syokimau. And so this tissue paper was put in these electric sockets. There was one in the container. I think he removed it, put it inside, and then started looking outside. Eventually, there was a boda person, and he threw it. This person picked it. He did not have credit. He went, found credit, and then called the number to Mwenda's wife. And when she received the call, as most of us would, maybe initially she felt maybe it was this committee people. And then this person was just persistent. Eventually, later that evening, she calls back and this information is relayed. And within minutes it gets to us. And that is now when basically the search starts. It was a week-long search. From that, it was a Thursday, the 23rd of June. And from Thursday to the following week, Thursday, because the sightings started on Wednesday, according to the testimony of the officers from Oldonyo Sabuk. But the two police stations in Oldonyo Sabuk were arguing on whose jurisdiction the bodies were. They had been spotted by Wednesday. So after 2 days, I think one of the bodies floated to one side of the jurisdiction, because I think the river divides the station jurisdiction. And that is when now they were collected and brought to city mortuary. And this week of search is what a lot of families in this country go through daily. I'm sure today, yesterday, last week, you will find there are families that were out there in city mortuary, Kenyatta, and different other facilities trying to find their loved ones. Unfortunately for some, they've not found them to date. We've seen through our community engagement work families that have never found their loved ones. Some of them saw their kinsmen last in a police station. And when they came back, they were told he was released to nowhere. They never came back home. There is no trace of them. And so for us, the totality of the evidence in this case, and probably maybe the fact that the rains were not heavy at the time when these three friends of ours were killed, really assisted to ensure that we found their bodies. Because in the nature of the place where they were dumped after being killed, the intention was that they were not to be found. So from the Oldonyo Sabuk Bridge, not so far from it, there's the falls. I think it's 14 falls. Mm-hmm. And so when the river is swollen, it goes into the 14 falls, and then after that it's wilderness. There is a national park there. And you know what happens when bodies find their ways into national parks. For us, they barely moved 200-300 meters from the bridge, and somehow they floated to the shores. And that was, you know, that week. So we moved by Friday. We moved from searching for missing persons into now a murder investigation. And what the president of the Law Society mentioned was really crucial. The habeas corpus case that was before Justice Kimani really assisted to piece together a lot of the evidence that early. And a lot of it was so much for finding Willie, Joseph, and Josephat. And now after that, when we found out that they had been killed, the focus now shifted to identifying the perpetrators and bringing them to book.